But I really want to share, when I say life and the pursuit of happiness, I'm talking about both pieces. Life, talking about stories of what's going on, upcoming events, unique stories of the people, the businesses, the organizations, everything that's going on here on the south side of Indianapolis. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to have you. This is the Around the Southside podcast. I'm your host. I'm Terry Wagoner. I am thrilled that you're here with me. Can I just say that to start right out the gate? Thrilled to have you for the journey of all things south side of Indianapolis. And this first episode, just going to be a little quick hitter. Just want to share with you a little bit about who I am, what this thing is about. I'm guessing you already know who I am, not because I'm important in any way, shape, or form, but because you're probably one of my friends or family. Let's be real. So hello to my mom. We'll greet those that might actually be listening to this as we go. But listen, I am so excited about this podcast. I'm thrilled to share it with you. So kind of two things I want to talk about today. First, what is this podcast about? Secondly, who I am, and just a little kind of intro to me, just in case you accidentally clicked the wrong thing on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast. So what is this podcast about? It is about life and the pursuit of happiness and all things South Side. When I say South Side, I'm talking about the South Side of Indy. So Johnson County especially, we'll venture up sometimes into Perry Township, Franklin Township, and check in with things that are going on up there as well. But I really want to share, when I say life and the pursuit of happiness, I'm talking about both pieces. Life, talking about stories of what's going on, upcoming events, unique stories of the people, the businesses, the organizations, everything that's going on here on the south side of Indianapolis. So maybe you've seen some of the videos I've made. This is just a chance for me to go deeper. What we found is that I would do these interviews for videos for my real estate YouTube page. And I would end up talking with folks for 15 or 20 or 25 minutes about their story, about their business, their organization, what's going on. And we'd have to trim it down to, a 6 or 7 minute kind of clip thing. So this is my chance to kind of go deeper with some of those groups. I'm really excited about that. So that's the life piece of the puzzle. When I say pursuit of happiness on the south side, I am a self-improvement junkie. I am a happiness junkie. And so I want to reserve the right to share pieces of my life with you. So those are just going to be quick hitter episodes, kind of like this, a couple minutes long, just me sharing with you the things I'm learning, the things I'm struggling with, the things I'm happy about, new discoveries, new purchases that I'm excited about. It's just a potpourri of categories. And really, the selfishness is, this is my podcast. And so I want to talk about the things I want to talk about. And you can click around. You don't have to listen to every single one. I'm not going to get mad if you change the channel and find something else you'd prefer. This is obviously a pretty niched down podcast, so I'm not expecting to have a ton of listeners. And that's why I especially want to reserve the right to share with you whatever makes me happy in life, whatever I get excited and jazzed about. That's what we're going to share on this podcast. Now, who am I? Who the heck am I? Well, I'm Terry Wagoner, as we said at the outset, we said at the top. My guess, again, is that you already know me because at this point, and probably for most of this, it's just going to be my friends, my family that's listening to this. So really quick, I will greet you, my lovely wife, Amy, my children, Ava, Allie, and Andrew, maybe my brother. Hi, Andy, if you're listening. I don't know if he's going to listen or not, but hi, brother. And my mom will maybe listen if she can figure out how to listen to a podcast. Producer Christian, I know you're listening. You've got to listen, so hello to you. Maybe my videographer, Courtney, she's maybe going to hear some of these. I don't know. She's going to do some video. That's probably about it. So hello, my little teeny tiny tribe of people that either listen out of guilt or because I'm forcing you to. Listen, I'm happy to have you. I'm just glad you're here. You know what I mean? So a little bit about me. I am a lifelong South Sider. I've grown up, went to school in Whiteland. I was a Whiteland grad, and back in 1997, so you can do the math and find out that I'm 44 years old as of this recording. So I went to school in Whiteland, lived in Indy. I did go to college down at the University of Evansville. Go Aces, go. And that's where I met some of my closest friends that I still work with and live my life with and all that stuff. But all that to say, I've lived and worked here in Johnson County for all but about 5 or 6 years of my life. The rest of the time I've been here. I'm a husband and dad. I have 3 kids. I have a wife, Amy, I've already mentioned, Mrs. Wagoner. And what do I like? I like, hobbies-wise, sports, music, art, theater, movies. I read a lot of books because I love them. There's going to be all kinds of stuff that I want to talk about. I'm also, speaking of sports, I'm a huge fan of Michigan sports teams. I'm not a Colts fan or a Hoosiers fan or a Boilers fan or any of that stuff. I'm a fan of Michigan sports teams. So the Detroit Tigers in baseball, Detroit Lions in football, and Michigan Wolverines. And that is because my dad was born in Battle Creek, Michigan. So as you know, I'm a Whiteland kid, South Sider my whole life, but my dad was born in Battle Creek. So when we were kids, he would just brainwash us and said, hey, we're Tigers fans, we're Lions fans, we're Michigan fans. And now I'm doing the same to my kids. At some point it rubs off and it takes, right? So I am a full-fledged, full-throated, full-voiced fan of the Tigers and Lions in Michigan. So maybe we'll talk about that sometimes, the ups and downs, mostly downs, of being a fan of those teams. What else to tell you? I have a unhealthy obsession with Taco Bell. Literally, it's unhealthy, but that's my favorite. And if you've seen any of my video stuff, you know that we like to try Taco Bell things. Maybe I'll talk about Taco Bell. Maybe I'll do a podcast from Taco Bell. I have no sponsors of this show. So Taco Bell, if you're listening, reach out. I'd love to work something out. I'll do it for free Taco Bell, honestly. So that's kind of the personal side of things, and I'll share plenty of that as we go along, don't worry. Work-wise, I'm a realtor with Ferris Property Group. I'm the co-owner of that company. We have about 50 people in the company as we sit here in 2023. So I run that with 2 of my best friends from college, Todd and Megan Ferris. That's been a hoot. And it's fun to work with your best friends. I've enjoyed that. So that's been nice. I have a personal sales team of realtors. That's 5 people, including me, admin, showing assistant, a couple of agents, things like that. I am officially an Airbnb investor. I have 1 whole unit that we bought last year in Panama City. So I may talk about that from time to time because I do want to buy more. I want to get more units. We like doing the Airbnb thing and renting it out to our friends and family and other folks that we come across. So that's fun. And then I get to travel a little bit with work. We do some speaking and training, Todd and Megan and myself, and producer Christian, who produces this podcast. You'll hear from him from time to time. But the 4 of us get to travel around and try to speak and train realtors around the country. We have another podcast that's all focused towards realtors, helping them grow their business and things like that. So that's on the work side of things. And listen, last piece of the puzzle, if you're trying to figure out who I am and what I'm about still, I will tell you on the Enneagram, I am a 3, which means I live and die by my achievements. I am an achiever by nature. So there's a healthy version of that in that sometimes we put in the effort and we make a podcast. And then there's the downside of that, achiever side, and that is if I'm not achieving or if I fall short of a goal, sometimes, we can beat ourselves up a little bit. So that's the pros and the cons. But I am somewhat of a go-getter, and that's why I've started this podcast, is just because I've enjoyed being out and about, talking with people, and I like to share my life. If you follow me on social media, you see that I make videos all about my life and what I do and who my family and my hobbies and my interests and all that stuff. So this podcast is just kind of a natural extension of my video content. So that's it. That's all for this episode. I want to tell you I'm really excited about this. I want to reserve the right for these little quick hitters where I can talk about whatever I want to, whatever I'm into, but we're also going to tell you the stories of the people on the South Side. We're going to share what's going on. We're going to share how these different organizations, businesses, restaurants, whatever they may be, came to be. You're going to meet a bunch of great people along the journey, and man, I am just really excited. So by the way, if you want to jump on the podcast, if you think you might be a great guest, or if you have questions, I am happy to interact with you. Feel free to email me, terry@ferrispropertygroup.com. I'm also open to suggestions, right? This is my podcast, but I want it to be of interest to you as well. So if you ever have thoughts or a story or know a business owner or someone's doing something cool here on the South Side, just want to shed some light on that stuff with this podcast as well. Okay, that's it. Terry at Ferris Property Group. Lots of love to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will see you next time on the first episode. Is that the first? Is this the first? I don't know. I'll see you on the next episode of the Around the South Side podcast. See ya.